Welcome back. We are at phase 2 of my rent house job here. I got the bathroom ceilings done, the plumbing done, the electrical done, but now I have this floor, and you can see the gap there on the level. Actually, it's level right there across, but the hump, the sag in the middle is where the during the storm, Hurricane Ida, something cracked, and that's actually exposed. You can see light outside where this is all dropped. So I'm going to pull this molding. I'm going to cut, because I laid this floor a few years ago throughout all this house, and it's held up very well. So I'm going to cut at this corner across here and make this will be another I'll put down just a fake threshold piece whenever I go to patch, and then I'm going to lift this is all self-adhesive, so it bond the edges glue to themselves, so I should be able to lift this out as one piece and slide it over here and then access my floor, because I've had to get under this house before. And basically I went through this way, and you can see to get underneath here, there's a little, this is bricked around, this house is bricked around it with a curb. You can see the brick there. So where this piece of vinyl is, that's a hole. So I had to dig out about 2 or 3 feet of that to be able to dig a hole enough to slide underneath there to get in. So that's really not an option to work on this house from underneath for what I have to do here. So, and I'm going to pull this entire jamb and threshold. So yeah, I'm going to, there used to be a big tree right there, and it fell on this house years ago from Gustav, and you can see where it crunched. It's still crunched, and I think it probably damaged this then, and it's just taken years for it to rot through or whatever. But so yeah, I'm going to get underneath there, jack it up, replace whatever I need to replace here to get it up to level, and then I'm going to pull that and replace the door with a brand new steel door. Power is back on today, so I'm going to make my cut, get my vinyl floor up here. You can see part of what's really messed up on this is added. This is a threshold that was added on over the original threshold, and then it has this some aluminum metal that was tacked over the wood on this side to try to deflect water. So again, all this is coming out. I'm going to put a new threshold in, but that's you can see how far this floor has sagged, that I'm going to have to repair and jack up or do whatever. But yeah, so we're rolling on this one today. All right, I've never attempted this before, to move a big piece like this that's stuck together, but I've got it cut, and you can see this lip is up. And what this stuff does, if you're not familiar with this floor, this side, this is a sticky edge on here. The other side goes over it, and when you put compression on it, it activates the adhesive where it bonds it together. And then if you need to take them off, you can use like a heat gun, heat them up and pull them apart to repair, to move, fix stuff or whatever. I've never done that. If I've ever replaced these, I just cut them out, pick them up, put a piece back down, because usually it's a rent house, they don't really care about it. So this one, we're going to see if I can get it to, like I said, I want to lift it free from this. I pulled the door jamb piece up, and there we go. The whole thing wants to move pretty good. I just need an area over here big enough to slide it in, get that out of my way, and keep it flat so it doesn't break the seams. All right, well that actually did pretty well. You can see it blends in well with the other floor I already put down. But yeah, so that big piece slid right there. Now I can pull up this old linoleum and see what's under here and get to the rotted wood or whatever's bad. And then, like I said, I'll just put a threshold piece over here whenever I put these two edges back together, and that'll work real good. I can reuse all my moldings that you have to have. That quarter round is what holds this stuff down. You can see it's floating. It lifted right up. You got to have those quarter round pieces that hold your, like these right here, that hold it down and keep it pressed down the floor from lifting up and separating and all that. So that's a very crucial part of when you do these is, like I said, putting all the quarter rounds down around them. Like I said, I did all these floors, all this stuff in here years ago. All right, well, like I said, I was pulling this up just to see what we're dealing with, and that's the layer of Luan they put down when they put down this vinyl here, and they put it down over these, which I'm guessing if they're the 8-inch, I think if they're 8-inch, they are the asbestos. Those are 9, so these might be okay. But yeah, the 8-inch with that kind of speckled lavender color to it, those are all that you find in schools and hospitals and community buildings from back, 30, 40 years ago. They're still there. That's all asbestos. But so yeah, so that's the first layer off, and I've cut through. There you can see that that floor is just descent. Oh, actually, that's that bagasse board, isn't it? No, I think no. That's just what's happened to. That's actually probably pine tongue and groove Cinemax. It's just disintegrated, and then that's right straight. That's the ground underneath there. So it looks like. It sure looks like that bag. Oh, maybe it's just got a layer of something over it, seal. But yeah, it is a tongue and groove. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna cut. Obviously, I can't. I'm gonna have to replace a lot of this that's sagged all the way up to here. So I was already figuring on at least a 4x4 area, probably more like a 4x6 to get this covered up. But that's why it's sagged and dropped. So I'm gonna get this torn out. We'll come back and take a look at it. Well, holy shit. It's way worse than I was expecting. You can see here that this is the 2x10 floor joist original. It's rotted through. It's not even touching anymore. The sill that it sits on, this thing itself, is just I can just tear it apart. This one here that sits on it is loose. I'm guessing probably on each side it is. So I'm going to basically have to cut in all the way across here, probably about 8 feet, get me a 4x8 or maybe a 6x6 beam, 4x6 beam to replace this sill with, try to get this all set up. I'm going to have to cut this back at least to where my line is and replace all this. So yeah, and then cut back where I can scab onto these and have something to sit on the new sill here whenever I get it in. So but yeah, man, this is gonna suck big time because I'm gonna have to jack up all this. I'm gonna have to get and you can see there's no room to even get my jacks in here. So I'm not even sure how. I'm gonna have to dig out to be able to jack up and lift the floor because there's no room to. Shit, I might put some kind of a brace across here where I get a jack in and then lift up. That's section by section. I needs to be able to lift up evenly. You can't lift up one side and you've got to equally raise it up. And then this stuff in here, that's the backup of the stairs here. This is part of why all this is rotted, because that concrete has transferred all that moisture, and they've got this all closed up underneath it with the bricking, so this doesn't dry. And again, this is old wiring. All this shit should be replaced. That's why I didn't want to mess with that plug that I changed the other day, that switch, just because, man, anytime I touch this wiring, there's no neutral ground wire. It's only 2 wire. Like I said, it's not good. But all right, like I said, this shit's just disintegrated away from water and termites in the past, but mostly from water. I mean, look at that. That's that's a beam. It's just gone. So well, there's the update for this piece of shit. Gonna take me a little longer than I was expecting, but that's I can't say expecting. I was hoping for the best, and I got the worst. So, and again, it's just so close to the damn ground. That's another reason this stuff's rotting. They usually put them up at least 12 to 16 inches, where you can get underneath it and keep it up off the ground for moisture. You can see this stuff's barely 9 inches. I mean, I can squeeze under houses at 9 inches and get in between these things to have room to work. But man, it's claustrophobic. But yeah, but being able to get my jack is bigger than 9 inches. So that means I got to dig it out, put a concrete pad, dig it down low enough to get a concrete pad, because it'll just push down into this soft ground. There's been houses I tried to jack up when I first got down here, because the way I would do it in Texas, and I'm stacking cinder blocks and I'm pushing it down. I put another one on top. I'm jacking my plywood. my 2x8 or whatever board that sits a jack on the cinder block, and it push it down. I put another one on top. But I'd be 4 cinder blocks pushed down into the ground and couldn't get high enough to level. So then I started using flat, wide 4-inch pads of concrete, and I mean those things weigh 80 pounds or more. To drag those things underneath the house is a pain in the ass. But that's the kind of shit you got to do. It doesn't do any good to pour a concrete footing, because it'll just disappear, just like the or a sonotube. It'll disappear into the ground, just like the cinder blocks, because this ground is just a swamp all the way around. So, all right, well, there we go. I got some strategizing to do here for this. Start cutting out floor, I guess. Well, for those who've wondered how to even start to get this stuff out, take your skill saw and you squeeze it right up there next to the wall. And just like that. Now I'm cut through. I'll do my cut across. I have to deal with that threshold. But just to update you, I got this side here cut. I did the same thing over here. And once I access this one, you can see there again, that beam there's nothing sitting on the sill. And that's what, again, this is rotten that this stuff, the wall even sits on. That is the 2x4, the stud that holds the wall down. You can see these things are rotted out. So, and I'm assuming you can see that one's rotted there. And I'm guessing that next beam down right there. Yeah, I can't see. Well, there I can see with that. Yeah, you can see that's rotted. So that's why I went ahead and took this section out, because I got to be able to access over to there. But again, the whole thing's sagging that much, so obviously a lot of support needs to be replaced here. The hard part's going to be getting this sill out and raising up all this floor enough to put a new one in and set it on there and have it level. So yeah, I'll probably be getting maybe some cinder blocks or something that I can use to stack for temporaries, post pilings that are here to hold these up into position while I get the beam changed out. But yeah, yeah. My God, bones, what have I done? Oh, we're opened up, and you can see we're rotted all across the top of these things, so I'm gonna have to cut them back and scab on. I'll probably have to get at least 8 foot comes out to about here, so I'll probably get 10 foot 2x8. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those to start. 10 foot 2x8s, and then a 10 foot 4x6. And like I said, we'll start with that. Look how thick, how many layers of floor that is to try to have to match back up. I mean, that's several sheets of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, or a bunch of Cinematch, this tongue and groove lock-in stuff where you can see where one piece locks into the next. That stuff's not cheap by the piece either. So they've got this new stuff that is synthetic. It's like almost like this stuff that's the plastic fiberglass insulation that they make now, and fiberglass moldings that they've made now for years. They do the whole thing, PVC moldings, frames, all that kind of stuff. I use the moldings. I never use any of the other material. But my buddy the contractor said they got this new 3/4 inch stuff that it's a synthetic. That's like $50 a 4x8 sheet. So I don't know. I might try some of that and see. But first thing I said, I got to get all this rebuilt back up, and then I'll probably end up, before this is over today, I'll probably just end up putting a tarp over this to get all this jacked up and back in place, and then worry about getting the plywood and getting it up to level. Well, I finished off yesterday with a big hole and a tarp over it. So I started today. I got all my lumber and stuff from yesterday. I've got my new sill in, and problem is that this wall that it sits on is so destroyed. I almost have to rebuild it, but I've got it shimmed up where it's at least it's level. I've put in my first new floor joist there. You can see where it runs back to there. Screw it in, and then I've got a new vertical right here that goes up into the wall, so I can, because that was so rotted, just like these are, where it's just crumbling away. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Get a board up in there where I can reach up in there and then shoot it into the, where it's not water rotted at the bottom. I can get a bite on it at the top and then tie that in to that, so at least all this is linked together. Then I'll shoot some screws into the flooring into this. Whenever I put the new flooring on, it'll all tie it in, but that way it kind of meshes it together, because otherwise it's just sitting here free. Oh, how you doing? And this wall would be subject to just being blown in by the next storm that comes out of the south there. So yeah, at least I can tie it together and support it a little bit without realistically I should be I'm going to be pulling this anyway, taking out that frame when I replace this door, but pull this siding off so I can access the wall, and probably in this room as well, because it goes another 2 feet that way rotted. And the same thing over here. This should all be pulled away where I can put in new horizontals, because I just can't reach up. I can't put a long enough piece in there from down here and shove it up in there, but at least it's a little something. So like I said, these are not as rotted as the ones that I cut completely off here. So I'm able to scab onto them and then tie up to the new sill. But yeah, they were jacked up, and I jacked these up. You can see where I jack it up into position to get it up and level, then screw it in, and it'll be solid and last. But yeah, I mean, it's a patch job for sure, but there's only so much you can do without, like I said, just tearing out all these walls. And I mean, nobody wants to do that. I don't even want to do this much, but you know, I'm going to do what I got to do to make it work and solid, so I don't have to come back and do this in 5 years or 10 years, or God forbid I'm still crawling around under here in 10 years doing this. But hopefully I'll be able to if I want to or need to. But yeah, so that's more crawling around under here. I got the worst parts on that side done. Like I said, now this one. And I'll pull that jack, get my other piece in here, shimmed up. And then I can run my 2 middle ones and start working on flooring. All right, well, I went ahead and pulled out my trim here. Because like I said, you can see there's nothing that's rotted out. There's nothing holding this. If I put a new door jamb in here, there's nothing to screw it to at the bottom. It'll be just be sitting there. So I'm going to put in a little gecko. I'm going to put in a 2x4 right here, and one on that side, and then tie it into my sill. And then that'll all be anchored. I've still got good wood on this side. This isn't rotted here, so I can screw it into this, toenail it in there, and then like I said, have it on there supporting on the sill. Then whenever I pull this and put in my new front door, I'll have something to attach it to that's not rotted. So yeah, just kind of like I said, the more I dig out, the more I realize I gotta do something so it'll hold together. But such is the life in these old houses. Well, so here on this other side of our door, you can see I pulled off my stuff. This is actually sheetrock on this side, and it's brittle and falling off. So what I'll do is I'll probably go back I'll get a sheet of beaded board, and one 8-foot by 4-foot sheet will cover that. And I should be able to piece together what I need up there and this side to, this will just be a beaded board entry wall here. It's not going to matter, look better than the crap that's on here now. And then I've got problems been dealing with in here is I've got this wire, and again, this is that old, hell, this may even be aluminum wiring. But the one on the ground here has been a problem because, I keep moving it, but, you're going to step on it. It was already wearing through, so I went ahead and taped it up. Then I cut me went home, I had a piece of PVC drain pipe here that I cut in half. And now I can shield that, and from now on, when I put these other 2 beams in, especially over here, I don't have to worry about dropping things on this or stepping on that brittle old wire. That's why I was glad whenever I did that. When am I bleeding? I'm bleeding again. Always bleeding somewhere. But yeah, when I was doing that switch in the bathroom, I was just relieved that it wasn't. I got DNA all over every house I work on. There's blood stains somewhere. But yeah. So, but this one's in now. So I got it cut. I just gotta screw it in, and like I said, then I'll have this like that side over there. It anchored nicely in, very tight in the corner there, tied here, and it's all tied together. So that's what I needed to get this. So you can see the door jamb here there's nothing holding it on. So now I'll have something to screw into. I'll probably, when I change it out, I'll scab in a few more pieces up there to have to anchor. But I've got one more I'm going to fit in right there and cut that and tie that last 2x4 in. And that'll be good. When I replace this beam, it'll snug up to that. So I'm about to scab a big 2x8 onto that one, and then I'll do my middles. Well, despite how much fun all this looks, some of it actually is not a lot of fun to do. Like when you got it squeezing under here. Luckily, I'm not too far back, but my edge is not flush here, so you always want to use a metal plate between your jack and your board, because it'll just eat up your wood when you're trying to jack this stuff up. Where are we here? So yeah, so I'm back up in here a little farther where I can I just want to get it up where, damn it. Just like that, where it gets snug up at the top and there's not a gap, because I've already got it level back here. All this across my boards here are level, so I'm good with that. This is my last one going in, so yeah. So now, all right, well, it is now Sunday. I got my struts, my floor joists in. I went ahead and left the support underneath this side since it's going to hold that wall up. All tied in, very tight. It's gonna be solid now. Cleaned up my area. You never want to leave scrap wood underneath your house, just because it will attract termites. So now I've got my 4x8 sheets treated. These fuckers weigh like 100 pounds each. I don't remember them being this heavy, but I've got my measurements about to cut. You can see there's my lines. So there is our new gold stand, our top for the gold station, looks like. So yeah, it's finish up the floor in here, and then I'll be able to get that front door. But yeah, this is the stuff I've been dreading, is handling these big sheets of 3/4 inch treated plywood. So, but they have come down to $50 a sheet from being almost $80 a year and a half ago. So that's good. But yeehaw! All right, I'm finishing up my floor today. There's my 1/2 inch sheet that's going to be my final layer over the regular plywood. I spent a very unpleasant Sunday wrestling with these 100-pound 3/4 inch sheets to finish off my floor in here. You can see I got 2 layers of 3/4 inch, and it left me a 1/2 inch to match up. And so what I'm going to do here, since my seam right there is actually where it meets up to this floor, I'm going to go back with my my multi-tool there, and I'm going to cut that seam right there along this this line, and then bring in my plywood to cover both this. It'll cover up this crack right here, and have the whole floor sealed up from the top, and then I can lay my vinyl piece, slid it over there back on top, put my trim around, and this will be good. And then like I said, I'm going to put beaded board in on the door to finish that off, and a fake threshold, and it should be good. The worst part's done now, and it's solid, jacked up. Say, this isn't going anywhere anytime for the rest of the life of this house. And yeah, so all right, well, there we go. Lot nicer working with that 1/2 inch, I'll tell you that. And then I'll get my new front door. I got that, like I said, I got that piece cut out, so now my board can overlap this seam and make sure that the whole thing is cut off from the ground below and sealed up, and we'll have a nice overlap to strengthen this floor up too. So all right, I've got my new floor down. That's the old I was able to slide the vinyl back on, fit in just right. I got to put my cord around back down, but first I got my beaded board here that's going to go and replace that sheetrock I tore off of this wall. So I got it primed, and as you can see, it's a little short as far as reaching across, so I'll cut the 2 sides for the length, and then I'll take some out of the middle there to fill in the gap at the top, and it should blend in just fine. And then I'll go get my new door. But yeah, I had some pretty hard rain yesterday, but I was able to get my prime done on my beaded board, so it's dry and ready to go today. So it should look nice in here though when it's done. All right, here I am on hopefully my last day finishing this job off. I've got my front door being torn out. It's just a lot of rotted stuff I got to pull out from the side here. You can see I got my floor in. I've got my piece I'm going to put down for that, and I got to put the rest of my trim down. We'll be good, but yeah, I got the new door, and that's what the job is now, to get this changed out and make the front look good again. So Hopefully it'll go in. I can trim it out easy enough where it goes from the vinyl to the frame. But there we go. So the issue on this door that caused all this is that gap right there where this step goes up, and so much water got in there and rotted that out. And like I said, it's going to be good for many years to come, but I'm going to try to stifle. I'm going to try to stifle it a bit by applying this flasher here, and I'll tuck it down where it'll deflect the water on down in below, past the wood at least, and to keep it from dripping right into our jam, our threshold. So hopefully that'll work for this. I was going to try to build a mortar seal in front of it off of this stuff, but it's just so thick. I've got this synthetic wood here. It's synthetic deck board. I'm going to use that I've got some longer pieces to build up the threshold, and that way I don't have to worry about this stuff rotting because it is synthetic and it lasts forever. And yeah, see if we can, like I said, get it in where we don't have to worry about doing this again. But it's gonna be a lot better, look good. So that's the main thing. Yeah, just that little bit of metal there on the threshold should make a difference. I got it tacked onto the studs here, so any of that water should deflect right on down and flow past our wood down to the ground. So all right, moving on. Well, the shadow's getting longer, but I've got my door initially in. Fits all right side to side. I'll be able to reuse my pieces once I clean them up, but I'm still going to have a little gap at the top here I'm going to have to account for because this is a shorter threshold. And same thing, my piece will come down up here in the top, but I need something to attach this, so I'm going to have to put in a 2x4 little header over my door here that I'm going to cut in now and screw in, and then we'll be able to put my trim back around here. I got the doorknob and deadbolt to put on, and yeah, it's the part I'm dealing with is trying to get that threshold right. As you can see, it's two by fours. Actually, those are 2x8s width up. So it's too thick. I can't really use my synthetics, and they're not long enough to cover all the way to the ends like I need them to. So I'm trying to figure out some way I can do this where it'll be, you know, not water rotted in a few years. But yeah, let's keep coming along. I am happy to say I am finally done with this house. My new front door, step, frame, jamb, everything tied together nice and caulked in. Smooth opening and closing. There's my new floor. Little trim piece there. You never could tell anything was ever done to it. And then my finished wall, which the tenant really likes that beaded board look. She was very happy with that instead of the sheetrock. So again, makes for a very nice entryway there. And here we have my new light in with my new bathroom ceiling. So that and the new switch there, that should be good for a while. And with that, we bid a fond farewell to this god-awful job. I'm so glad. I've been over here 7 days in a row since I started last Thursday. And yeah, it took every bit of it. So I still got the old door there. I got to figure out if he wants to save that for something. I might put it on Marketplace because it weighs 100 pounds and you're not going to find doors like that anymore that are that solid and heavy. But all right, my friends. Well, thank y'all for joining me on this little job. It turned into, like all of them, a major pain in the ass. Till next time, take care. We'll see you later.